How's everybody doing? Today we're going to be doing a very special review here because this video now is being sponsored by Genaray and B&H. Otherwise this light wouldn't be here. Before you even start watching this video, I'm going to tell you up front what's going to be. We're going to be talking about every single thing that you want to know about this light, about the CRI, the fan noise, the all kinds of tests with the sock boxes. So pretty much everything you need to know about this light is going to be in this video. So stick around and watch the video from the beginning to end because everything you need to know is going to be covered on a single video. I'm going to be covering everything that I absolutely love about the light and also the things that I don't like about the light. A few things that need improvement. I'm talking about very minor things because this is a great light, but it's also important to mention the things that I didn't like and needs a little bit of a tweak of improvement for the next batch of when they make these lights, right? And as you can see here, I already own the Genaray products. This is the Genaray Radiance, the AK230, which is a hell of a light, never gave me any problems. That's why I was interested so much in doing a review of one more great product from Genaray because of their tough built materials and everything. The design of the lights is very sexy. This one looks like one of those DJ intelligent lights, you know, those lights that do this, right? I mean, so I have no problem with this light, including slow motion video. I'm shooting with the 1DX Mark II over here, a Canon C100 Mark II as the main camera here. Even though those are extremely powerful lights, I already found myself in a situation that I needed to blast this particular light here 100%. But this one here I purchased with my own money and I intend to buy more Genaray products because the experience that I have with this light, this one didn't disappoint one bit. And I'm very excited the power that this thing provides because I do a lot of interviews that they have a large window panel that they want to see what's going on the outside, the same way the human eye sees, right? Which also adds more professionalism and step up the production value. When you watch an interview, they have the subject well lit, as well as what's going on outside the window where the sun blasts in there. So this is why I need these very high powered lights over here, and this is going to be also very useful to you if you're looking for high powered lights. First impression, what I felt, the weight of the light taken out of the box, you don't want to put this on a flimsy stand. This is not a C stand, but this is a very heavy duty light stand from Impact. This whole thing here, as you can see, is made of metal aluminum. Also, the very front, including this black ring over here, is also made of metal. This one here is made of metal. And the only thing plastic here is just this, the side finish of the light. And also on the back of the unit here, the only thing plastic that you see is this siding over here and also the handle. All the LEDs that I have, the back handle is made of plastic. It's made of tough ABS plastic. I don't think I would need anything aluminum here, which first of all is going to increase the cost of the light to another at least $50 extra. So I found it impossible to break this. If you manage to break this, I don't know, but the way it is, the way that they build this light, it's not only Genaray, okay? The other, I understand the aperture has the metal thing, which is part of the body, but I don't find the need to have this in metal. The back of the light here, you have your power switch. You also have your knob here that regulates the intensity of the light, which is self-explanatory, and also a very easy to read LED display, which is lit in green. And over here you have the XLR type 5-pin connector to that goes from the ballast to the light to power the light. And on the left here there's a channel button, so you can actually change the channel, and also on the right to change the group to whatever you want, A, B, C, D, E. So if you own several of these lights, you can actually have all of them operating on the same group in the same channel, or put each individual specific light to be operated to a particular channel or group. And like any other LED light, you press the button here and it's out, right? Now let me show you something that you're gonna appreciate. The aperture, a lot of people complain that when you put the reflector here, it rattles like crazy, right? Let me show you this now. Absolutely no rattling of any kind. No rattling. You move the stand around, your client's not going to be like, you know, what is that noise, right? So it's kind of embarrassing. But this light here, whatever you do to it, this is very secure here. So there's no rattling. This is a very good start. The moment that I unboxed this and I took off the reflector and I put it back and I did the rattling test, nothing. This is great. Now the yoke, as you can see, is made of aluminum, metal, and I find it to be a little bit on the thin side. I wish it was a little bit thicker. I wouldn't mind the extra weight of the light, you know, a pound or less or whatever. This will hold any soft box that you want here, from 35 inch, 40, 55. I have big soft boxes here, but there are some exceptions that you need to somehow counterweight. So it's a good thing that these lights, they have a handle which serves two purposes. One is carrying the light from here, and another one to counterbalance things, okay? Just the same way you're gonna counterbalance the boom. This is the boom now, right now is a 14 feet extension, and I have something to counterweight on the back of the boom so the mic doesn't go that way, right? And the same thing with the crane, you're gonna counterbalance. So the proper way to do this, let me get the box that I'm talking about here. That thing is huge and heavy. It makes me tired to hold this for more than 30 seconds. This weighs at least 5 or 7 pounds, even more. I don't know, it's pretty freaking heavy. So common sense says, if you want to put something this heavy in front of this light, that light, or your light, or any light, okay, counterbalance. So the proper way to do this, same thing you do with a boom or a crane, both knobs, right, loosen them up, so the light is gonna want to fall this way, right? When you have something heavy as that, so once this reaches a perfect horizontal position, it means it is balanced. Then all you need to do is lightly tighten these knobs here, because if you do something stupid, you're gonna break these knobs, okay? And again, there's a lot of, you don't want a lot of weight in the front and nothing in the back. So and the yoke is gonna thank you as well, because if you don't counterbalance, the yoke, you can visually see, is wants to tilt the stand, the poles. It's like want to kind of, just like when you see a boom, right? A fully extended, the thing started to bend like this. This is exactly what's gonna happen. And then you can easily run the light over there, and the yoke is stress-free, the stand is stress-free, nothing wants to kind of bend that way. So everything is like stabilized, you know? The one thing that's a little bit on the flimsy side is the actual knobs here, that I found it to be a little fragile. So you want to take it easy on this, okay? So if you are the type of gentle person, you will never break these knobs here. I will never break these knobs. So if you are the type of person that handle things rough, okay, you gotta be careful with this knobs here. Not only these knobs, any other knob that you might touch, okay? Because some things, they do break, and when they're not supposed to be broken, because if you have a heavy hand, it's gonna be a problem there. But other than that, these knobs will hold pretty well most things that you put on this unit here. And over here, the reflector, there is a pre-cut thing that you can actually push in, so the umbrella can go through here. I'm not gonna put an umbrella here because I don't use umbrellas for this, so I don't want to take this off. Another thing that you can do, if you can slightly, I never tried this before, it might work. If you can slightly push this in, just enough space for the umbrella to pass through, and then when you're done with the umbrella, you take off you remove the reflector, and then gently push it back in. You might be able to keep this, otherwise all you gotta do is put a black gaffer tape or whatever. Moving on next, there's two ways to hold this light. You can underhang it or overhang it. It has enough clearance for the yoke to pass through here, so you can do it this way, like stage type of thing, or on the stand, this way here. You can go as high as this. You cannot go fully vertical due to the size and the length of this light. This is your limitations with this yoke here. You can go pretty much about 160 degrees or something, right? So somewhere here. Now this whole assembly here, you notice that, as you move up and down, if you tilt, right, there's no squeaky noises, and this feels very smooth as you do it. The resistance is great. You can totally lose it as well. Very smooth. So now let's talk about the ballast here. My previous light that I owned, the Genaray AK230, the Genaray Radiance, came with this ballast, which is fairly light, and I love the design and everything. But when I saw the Powerhouse on a picture at the B&H site, I was very excited with this tiny ballast that they actually made. This weighs nothing, okay? And it also comes with the strap here that you can actually safely hook it up on a stand. I wish this ballast came with the same thing. I could even make modifications, but I don't want to avoid my warranty, and also the things that are inside here doesn't have enough clearance to even make 4 holes to attach this thing here, because I could easily mount like this. I gotta figure out a way to mount this over here. I'll probably make a video on YouTube if I find a solution for this without opening or modifying the light, because you don't want to do that. You don't want to avoid the warranty. Now the ballast here, you can choose to install here or here. See, as the pole gets thicker, it doesn't matter, or even all the way on the bottom here. And the reason why my stand is a little collapsed, so it doesn't get too high, so this is not going to be outside of the video frame. So you can install this ballast here, here, and also there, even on the leg if you want to, okay? But the best place to put this ballast here is on the very bottom side of the stand here, because when you are changing the height of the light, the ballast is not going to be in the way. You will probably want to put the stand right like this, right? Especially a light like this heavy, you don't want to have the legs like, you know, collapse like that. You want to put as much footprint on the floor as you can possibly have to make sure this light is safe in here. So you can actually mount the ballast right here. You can put this way or that way. I can't believe how small that is, given this is a 300 watt unit and comes with a tiny little ballast. And the 200 Genaray 200 watt, it comes with a beefier ballast, but it doesn't come with that annoying power supply plus ballast and then plus plugging it in the light. This is super annoying, like the Aperture that I returned. I used to have a Aperture 300D. I couldn't deal with that mess with the cables and the ballast, so I returned it. It's about the size of my hand here. And it also has 2 fans. This thing has to be cooled. I guess that's why they made this so small. Put a little fan here. This ballast here has no fan, but it's bigger. The same thing with the Ari Alexa. Why is it so big? Because it needs some more volume to keep things cool. When you make something smaller, you need fans here. And this one does not have a fan because of the size and the weight of this ballast, right? Okay, so that makes sense. So let's talk about the fan noise here, which apparently is the primary thing everyone wants to know about any light, any brand, any manufacturer that makes these things, right? So reminding you, this is a 300 plus watt light. There's no such thing with current technology to make these lights completely silent. So I believe they did a good job with the fan, because most interviews that you're going to be doing, let's say that you go to a cafe, there's always a little noise, either cars, even through the glass, where you can hear a little something, is never quiet. So this will not be a problem with this Genaray, and I'm going to demonstrate the fan noise level here, which is pretty damn silent for what it is here, the light of this power. So if you're having an interview on a room like this, I'm gonna be quiet here for a second so I can show you how silent this room is. You can hear your heartbeat here. I already have a LED light here which has a fan. You cannot hear the fan. And the boom, I'm using a super cardioid microphone, which is the most preferred way to do interviews. Instead of using a lavalier, which the microphone is omnidirectional, you will capture any noise other than just, you know, the light fan noise here. It can be any other things, okay? Now, to have a more concentrated and focused mic pickup pattern, I would use a super cardioid microphone for interviews. This way, not even this light you can barely hear, if not at all. But most LED lights with this type of setup, using a boom with a super cardioid microphone, you will not be able to hear any fan. The same way you can't hear this fan here. Now, I wouldn't recommend shotguns indoors because, as I described before in another video, shotguns are designed for outdoors, because what happens is the side of the shotgun, if you're using this indoors with wall, sound wave reflecting or bouncing off the wall, it's going to be reaching the sides of the shotgun, which looks like this, right? So all those undesirable sound waves is going to be hitting here, causing artifacts on your audio, okay? So shotguns are designed for outdoors. For indoors, I would recommend a mini little shotgun designed for indoors, never the long ones, because I already described what the problem is. Or you can use a supercardioid or a hypercardioid condenser microphone. So make sure when you have a microphone on the boom, just like a laser pointer or a flashlight, you have to see a straight line between the microphone and your mouth, and most important of all, make sure the microphone is as close as possible to the source. In case right now is my mouth, you can see the microphone here. You see that? See how close that is? So keep the microphone as close as possible to the source to have that rich sound, and also avoid doing this because you lose audio a little bit, and don't do that because you will shift all kinds of things with the sound. The light right now is at 10%. The fan remains on the same speed. It will not change as far as I can tell. So here's my microphone. I'm gonna be putting it right on top of this light. So the microphone is actually 6 inches from the unit. That's the fan noise, but you're not gonna be recording video like this. Just showing you the fan noise here. So from 0 to 10, 100%, the fan, it's not spinning faster when it is at 100% as far as I can tell. When you turn the light down to 10%, same noise. When you turn it off, the fan continues to run, but this is a good thing because when you are on a break, you will allow the light to cool off with the LED being off, but the fan is spinning, so it's actually cooling your heat sink. So you do want that. If you don't want any fan noise whatsoever, turn off the light completely. You don't even need to turn this off. You can leave this on, okay? But to completely turn the unit off, turn it off here too. To power this back up, turn this on first. If you turn this off, right? Then you plug it on. You turn it on right here. Fan kicks in, and it's up to you when you want to turn on the LED or not. Now I'm gonna be making a test here, the real thing, recording from this light over there, to see if you can actually hear any sound with the setup here that I have with the boom right above my head here. So right now I'm just speaking normal, and my camera and my microphone is set the levels to my voice in case this is an interview, for example, right? So I'm gonna be moving the light out of the way in a reasonable distance, I would say 5-6 feet over there somewhere, to see if you can actually hear the fan. I'm gonna come back here and talk again, and you shouldn't be able to hear at all with this configuration that I have here with the condenser supercardioid microphone. So let's move the light out. So what I did is I put the light right on the shot so you can see where it is, and it's about 8.5 feet away from me here. And given the levels on a normal interview, that when I'm speaking you can't hear the fan. So if you can, that is so small that, you know, when I have a bunch of LED lights, they all have fans, and sound is everything to me. I care so much about sound. I never needed to clean any fan noise from post-production with those fancy audio softwares. It's because the fans, when you place the lights like this, you're not going to hear anything as long as you are using the proper setup. Now let's measure the noise from this fan. I'm going to put it in the same proximity as I did with this light here. I'm just going to turn on the power. So I'm going to put this away the same exact way I did with the fan over there. So this is the fan very close to the microphone. I'm about 6 inches away from the microphone. Now let's put the ballast away from the microphone because you're not going to record your interviews like this, are you? No. Okay. So let's put the light right here where the Genaray is. I don't think you can hear anything. Now I'm going to be turning on the fan from the Genaray itself. So I'm going back to my default position here, interview mode. So the lights over there, only like 8 feet away. The ballast is on the floor somewhere there. The microphone is here, and the person being interviewed is right here. See if you can hear anything. You might be able to hear the clock on the wall there, but that's pretty much it. And if you can hear the fan, it is so small that you do not need to do anything in post-production, cleaning or filtering any audio using the fancy audio softwares they guys have there. Especially the fact that when the person is speaking, there's no way you can hear the fan due to the distance the microphone is properly set up. Or even if you're using a lavalier, just put the light a little bit further away. You shouldn't have any problem, but keep in mind that the lavalier is omnidirectional. You hear everything all over the place. So when I come back to the studio using the radiance and all the lights that I have no problem with sound whatsoever. So I don't think you're gonna have a problem either, because this is an extremely quiet room here. You can hear everything. Now, most interviews that you're gonna do, you're not gonna be dealing with a total silent room. There's always a little noise here and there. So even if you put the light a little bit closer than usual, I don't think you're gonna have a problem, because the fan noise is gonna be just like one more noise in the room, okay? So unless there's a big pause like this, you know, that's important, that a complete silence, I don't know. But I don't think you're gonna have any problem whatsoever, and I'm talking about a fan of a 330 watt light, and it is as good as it gets. Another thing I didn't like about this light is the mount that it comes with, because in the Genaray Radiance it comes with this pin here that you press, so even if you forgot to tighten it, the light is not going anywhere. So you just press this plug here and the light comes out. This light is just gonna plug in like this, and there's no plug there. So if you forget to tighten this, your light might fall. Somebody carrying the stand, you know, something like that, the light might fall. You know, this one here, it's not going anywhere. It only has the regular locking thing here, so it doesn't come with that spring pin there. Another great advantage of having both lights here is because this light is a little bit different than this light here. So when you combine the two lights, if you want to use one light that requires a more spotty kind of light and or like a floodier kind of light, you can actually put this light here on a softbox, while this one here provides a narrower beam, which you can be using for headlights, or you can put a grid here as well. So and since it is the same brand, the color of the light being emitted here is gonna fall pretty much on the same color, instead of messing with other brands that the light, like I previously described before, is gonna be slightly greener or magenta-ish or whatever. So sticking with the same brand, it's a good idea. I mean, I can't, because I can't afford 5 or 6 of these things. So in my case, I have other brands to mix on the studio. Simply put a minus green gel on another brand that I have, or a plus magenta here to make all the LEDs work on the same color cast. So since the gel is a very cheap solution, all you gotta do is cut the gel to size. When you even mount on a softbox, just cut on a round shape, tape, whatever you wanna do, and just put the gel in front of the lights with all the brands, different brands and models and types you guys have with the LED. Problem solved. Everything's gonna be on the green side or the magenta side or none, you know, so it's pretty simple. Another thing that I'm not sure if Genaray makes, I would like to see if Genaray can supply us to purchase separate an extension of this XLR type, just in case you need a longer run for some reason. It's always good to have an option, or to sell a longer cable in case you have a very tall light stand, 12-foot light stand, or whatever reason that is, or if you want to run the ballast far away from the light for some reason. It would be nice to have available on their website or B&H some sort of extension made by Genaray, because if you buy an extension with a 5-pin XLR here, the polarity might be different, so be careful with that. You know, you're dealing with voltage here, especially when it goes 220 volts. And another thing that I observed here on the Genaray Radiance, this is reseated, and this one here is exposed. So if you plug this in a ballast and touch this, you might get shocked. So I'm not sure. I'm not gonna try that, but make sure you be careful with this one here. So just a heads up here, when you try to remove this, sometimes it doesn't come off. You have to kind of angle a little bit like this. All it takes is like this, and then take it out. Mine, of course, comes straight, but just in case if you get stuck, don't force it. You just do what I just did here, and slight angle like this and pull it out. I spent a whole day on the internet trying to find a case that suits my needs for the best case to fit this Powerhouse, and the AK230 case is the perfect one to fit the Powerhouse with a few modifications. They don't offer this case for the Powerhouse, but you can call Genaray and order one. So I hope Genaray and other manufacturers, they can improve the synchronization issue with the remotes, and also to add the separate power button here on this remote, because for example in this remote over here, the power button is right there, and the up and down plus and minuses to change the light intensity is right here. So all I gotta do is press this power button and the light turns off, turns back on, and it's still the same setting as long as you don't touch the light, because it will change the brightness if it is not set to the same value here. So again, I turn this off separate, and then I can also change the value in brightness, as you can see. Now from 58% right now, if I want to turn it off, I can just turn it off like this, right? On this remote here, you have to wait until you go from 100 all the way to 0, or from 40 all the way to 0. But this is of course minor things. And the remote control comes included with this nice little pouch. The fabric is some kind of a velvet material that you can actually put it inside here, avoid the remote control from being scratched. And you can also mount this on a light stand or hang this anywhere you want when you're not using, so it doesn't get lost or nobody steps on it. So it's a very nice touch to have a little pouch here, so you can actually put the remote control in there. So to power the remote control, it's located on the right side of the unit, all the way on the bottom here. You press and hold, the unit will turn on, the green display is going to come on. On the left side of the remote, you're going to find 4 buttons, A, B, C, D, which you can program each light to be operated on a single channel. Or if you want all of them, you just route everyone to either the A or B or C or D. On the other side, that's how you control the color temperature, but this light is specifically default 5600 Kelvin, so it's not going to make a difference. And unlike the other remote controls, if you change the color temperature, the light is not going to be able to decrease to 10%, which is not the case of Genaray. So even if you accidentally change the color temperature here, the light will go to 10% either via the remote control or the light, so you don't have to worry about this. And these buttons on the bottom here, the first one on the left is where you change the channel number, and the 2 ones on the right is where you change the intensity, up and down the values. If you have an LED that's bicolor, the same buttons on the right and the bottom here will also control the value, 5600, 4000, whatever number you need to put in here. Since the Genaray Powerhouse is locked default to 5600 degrees Kelvin, this is where you want to leave as. There's also a lock button here, I didn't see it before. Apparently when you lock, nothing works. The light doesn't come on, so you cannot change any settings. So if you want to unlock this, put the way it was before to the unlock position, and then everything starts to work again. And the remote control is simply powered by 2 regular AA batteries. You simply slide the case out, put the batteries in, and close it back up. So the reason why this device is capable of being mounted on the shoe receiver, as you can see here, it's because it's a dual function. It also works with LED. Now when you press and hold the third button from the left, it changes to flash now. You can see the mute, fire, and everything. So it's very important for you to know if your light is not working because you are in flash mode. So you gotta press and hold this button here, and it will change to LED. So regarding the remote control, okay, it's made of plastic, but why would that need to be made of metal? To be heavier and colder, feel colder in your hand? I mean, how can this break, right? I think it is great the way it is. I think this is a high quality remote control. Same way for lights like this, all I need is a little plastic remote. You know, you don't need more than this. They all come as plastic because it's fine like that. So the construction, I think, is pretty tough. I can't see myself or you breaking this remote unless you step on it or if you drop it from a great height. But what I don't like about this remote here, that I want to bring this up, is the light. They only last for 5 seconds. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's out. I wish there was a way to press a menu here to make this last longer, at least 15 seconds. 30 seconds sometimes would be great, because I need to see this instead of having to press the button and then finally change the values here that I want, you know. But give us some more light duration here, because this 5 seconds to me is not good enough. It's kind of annoying actually. And this antenna here, you can control the light from up to 300 feet away or 95 meters away. I'd like to make a comment here on the ballast from the Genaray Radiance AK230. As you can see, besides it goes below 10%. But what I want to say here is every single click, it updates the percentage, right? So what I found interesting here is this particular light and this particular knob. When you want to change the value, you have to click several times to change the brightness, either up or down. So let's start here with the 10%. Then I have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 to change to 30, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Now when you go quick, this will update to 100% to 0, like in no time, right? So keep in mind, for some reason, you have to do several clicks here for this to update the... I don't know if it is a safety feature or something like that the light needs to respond this way. It's not a deal breaker, but it's something to get used to it, okay? On this ballast here, one single click, it will update the percentage, and also goes really fast, like this way. And this one, you can tap down to turn off the light. And this one here, you have to shut off like that. And don't forget to also shut off the ballast right there. So taking advantage that I'm wearing a lavalier right now, so I'm gonna do a fan noise test with the lavalier, and I'm gonna be measuring the distance with the light behind the softbox. I'm about 7 feet away, and here's the fan noise test wearing a lavalier microphone with the Genaray Radiance AK230. Now this is a test with me this close to the light, just for fun. About 3 feet. Five feet. And 7 feet. And now with speaking, you know, I'm saying something, and then the interview is going on, and then there's a pause, and then a pick up. So this is how it will sound like. Same thing here. You guys are pretty close to the interviewee. So I'm speaking, and then there's a little pause. Then I pick up the conversation and everything. So this is the test with the radiance, with the fan noise. So I'm doing the same test with the Powerhouse. Nothing was moved. Only the distance got a little shorter now because of the softbox. So I'm still 2 feet from the softbox. Now 3 feet. And let's go all the way back to 7 feet. My battery's dying there. And 7 feet. So for like intimate one-person interview, you probably want to use a light a lot less powerful than this, because this is designed to be, fighting the sun, projecting the light, the sunlight coming in the room, or for a very large interview or very large rooms. So use, if the noise is too much for you, just use a lesser powerful light, and that's pretty much it. So, but these lights are very powerful, and they do need the fans. In this case here, you have 3 fans on the bottom here, and another 2 fans from the ballast here. And the Radiance has 2 fans and no fan on the ballast. And now I test with just a bare bulb, with nothing to block the light, no softbox to attenuate the sound. So I'm about 3 feet away. I don't know if that makes any difference, but I'm doing that anyway. 5 feet. And 7 feet. Now I'm doing the same test with the Powerhouse. So this is a distance from, I can't even see now, about 2 feet. Three feet. Seven feet. Now I'm going to be speaking and then suddenly pause. And then I'll pick up the conversation again. So this allows you guys to kind of see what this is going to sound like in the real world interview, given the distance I am from the light and wearing a lavalier. By the way, this is a Sony UWP D series that I use as my default lavalier. Now let's try the Powerhouse at 10% with a huge parabolic umbrella at a distance of about 5 feet. So the reading here will be about f2 8.5 at a distance of 5 feet. Let's crank it up to 100%. We're 5 feet away from the softbox. We're having a reading of almost f8 at ISO 800 at 1/60th of a second. So the next test that I'm doing, the light happens to be placed at 7 feet away from this projection screen here. I'm just trying to see the reading here, how powerful this light is at a distance of 7 feet, ISO 800. So let's see what we got now with the Powerhouse set to 10%. We got f4 at ISO 100 at 1/60th of a second. Let me see how the reading would be with the ISO 800. About 11.2. At 10%, 11.2. And 1/60th of a second. So it should be f22, there you go, f22 at a distance of 7 feet, ISO 800 and 1/60th of a second. Then if we lower the ISO here, for example ISO 100, it will be about f8, which is crazy. So now what I'm doing here is performing a test of the 120-degree beam angle of this Powerhouse, and also do the same exact test to see which one is better for you as far as what they do as far as the beam angle and everything. So since we have both of them here, let's just do both. So this is a quick test, okay? So in the center here, we're reading 4.5 and almost 4. And pretty much, as you can see, the light spread is pretty even. This actually throws a nice even light on a screen of 144 inches. The distance that I'm measuring this light here is about 8 feet or so. So the power right now, as you can see, is about 10%, right, for these tests. And the Genaray radiance is next, and you'll be surprised how much of the ballast I have to gain here to compete with the Powerhouse at 10%, which we're talking about here 45%. Now let's turn off the Powerhouse. There you go. And just the radiance is on. And we're having here f4.5, which is the same reading that I got before with the Powerhouse. Now this one here, f4, and here is also f4.4. So I don't understand because the Genaray Powerhouse, it's a 120-degree beam angle. And this one here says in the description 47 to 64 degrees. So I don't know exactly what that means if the Genaray radiance is also having pretty much a bare bulb, the same light fall out, because it's pretty much even, 4.5, 4, and 4. So I don't get it. So right now the only thing that changed here, I just put a reflector on the radiance. I'm still doing the test on it. And now you start to see a little zebra there, right, on the camera. Let's do a test here to see what's going on. So in the center of the screen, we're having an f8. And here we have f4.5. And here we have f4.5, pretty much 4.5, right? So, okay. So that's expected because the reflector, of course, accumulates more light in the center. So let's do the same thing with the Powerhouse. So I didn't change any settings here. Let's turn this off. 10% on the Powerhouse here. And still the same zebra thing there. Make sure this is in the center here. Now the reading is if this thing will focus, you know. There you go. Now the reading is f11, which is a whole stop at 10%. Three stops difference. And 3 stops difference. So the next test here, I'm gonna try to see if both LEDs are the same color cast. Okay, so this might be a little difficult to see on camera, but I'm gonna try to test anyway. So I'm gonna try to not be in the shot. And okay, and I'm trying not to hit that lens with this light. So okay, so this is the Powerhouse, the color. Now I'm going to switch this over here, and then the radiance. Powerhouse, radiance. Now I'm going to do half and half here. And they're both combined. So since everything is still the same exact thing, I want to see which one is spottier with the reflector on. So we have the radiance taking the lead here, and I see a tiny little zebra on the camera here. Okay, so let's see what happens when I aim the Powerhouse in there. And you see it's the zebra is bigger, which means the Genaray Powerhouse is somehow spottier than the radiance, which has a 64-degree angle, right? And this one here is 120. This is what I don't understand, but this one is spottier here. So since the radiance and the Powerhouse, they have different reflectors. Let me switch to reflectors. This video is getting pretty scientific here. As you can see, they're both reflectors. This is more like a matte finish, and this one is a very mirrorish finish. So I'm gonna put the radiance reflector here and the Powerhouse reflector in here. We're gonna switch reflectors and see if there's any difference. Okay. Testing the Powerhouse first, and I'm semi-blinded. So this is the result with the reflector is less zebra. Let me turn this away here. Now point this guy there. And there you go, the zebra is slightly bigger. So here is a split screen side-by-side view for you to compare the both lights, what they're doing, and also the zebra pattern. So as you can see, the both LEDs here, Powerhouse and Radiance, they have the same exact color cast, or very close to the same thing. So when you're using these two lights together, the color cast is the same identical thing. So I also tested the Godox 60W in parallel with these lights. Their color cast is very close to these lights here, but the Genaray EF300 is more on the green side, but it's very small amount. But I can see the difference when I project the Genaray here and either one of these lights on the other side there. Well, that was a long video, but I really believe that I covered everything, so you don't have to look anywhere else on YouTube regarding this light or even this light over here. If you didn't see the review of this light, please go to my channel and watch the review of this light as well. So thank you very much for watching my video. If you didn't subscribe, please do, because it helps the channel grow. Please support my channel, and I do really appreciate your time, and have a good day or a good night. Thank you.